Hi, I'm Katherine Bird,
I'm Michelle Hawk.
and we are the Shaman Sisters, and welcome to episode 85. And we're going to talk about how to choose your clients. So, this is for healers, shamans, practitioners, all those that are in this healing service profession and getting into building your businesses. Like, there's a lot of talk and a lot of coaches. There's so many coaches out there. So there's a lot of coaches coaching us into how to invite clients or attract clients or market to clients or sell clients and learn how to do sales and all of these things. Well, we want to talk about a little bit on the other end of that. A lot of that has this sort of flavor of like, well, you need to make a sale and you need to run your business. Obviously, you need to make money. How are you going to pay your coach otherwise? So,
How do you feel about coaches, Kat?
I love coaches. So many of my favorite people are coaches. I coach. I'm a coach. Like I do all day. I coach all day long. Let's do it. Okay. So, but it's a lot of like, well, you need to be, selling people. But on the other end of that, you also need to be working with people that you really like working with so that your job is fun and you enjoy getting up every day and you enjoy getting on your calls or going to your office or having people over, however it is you work with people. Like you spend all this time to learn all these, tools and techniques and to build a business so that you don't have to work for somebody else and you don't want to be like miserable, like you're working for somebody you don't even like a boss you don't like. When this can be some of the most fun, rewarding, super great businesses to be in, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think practitioners, teachers, healers, we fall into a couple of traps. And I want to name those first and foremost, since I've been there, I know you've been there, and you've probably been there too, right? So some of these traps that we can fall into of having someone approach us and this person says, I need help. And we're empaths, we're sensitive people, we care, we give a shit. And so, of course, our response is like, I want you to have the help you need. Let me help you, whether or not we're actually the best person to help this person. So, number one, we fall into the trap of, I can help them. Okay, so that's kind of number one trap. Number two trap is also a like, I need money trap, right? And who hasn't been there? I've been there, you've been there, you've probably been there, right? Of I'm an entrepreneur. I'm in a relatively not less obscure, growing less and less obscure every day. But when I started my business 10 years ago, like this was a relatively obscure field. And it was nice to have people want to hire me. And so then I would say yes to clients that I wasn't actually 100% invested in supporting. And they ended up just taking a lot more work and attention than I was really interested in giving. They wanted things, or they wanted to do work with me that I wasn't actually interested in doing. So that's kind of that second trap of like, I can help them and I need money. So why not, right? Like everybody wins. If they need help, I need money, great. Those are kind of the two big traps right there. Or actually, no, I'll say third big trap of we feel like our practice should look a certain way. So we end up putting offerings out there that are not actually aligned, right? Like speaking of business coach advice, there's so much advice out there about like charge upwards of $1,000 for, who knows what it is, but charge XYZ, like some, usually like really high amount so that you can pay their prices, right? And that might not actually be aligned. And they're telling you like, do VIP packages and do like these, long-term agreements, and it might not be the way that you want to serve.
A lot of times what I've seen is that coaches coach what they do. So if they're running their business in this way, that's how they're going to coach you to run your business. So that's a different topic altogether, and how to choose your business coach. But know that there's more to this than that very sort of, keeps you in a box model. I know that I've had the experience of hiring a coach and being like, okay, this is what I need to do to make money. Usually that's where when I'm coming from that place of I need to make money is generally where I fuck up. But I'm hiring somebody or doing a program and then investing a lot of time and effort and energy in building out something that this person is teaching me how to do. And then at the end being like, I don't even want to work with these people, or I don't even want to like do this program, or I don't even want to sell that way.
Right.
And so
those three traps again of like, I can help them, I need money, and all of a sudden I created a business model that I don't actually want to do. Right. So do you see yourself in any of those? Like, I've been in all three of those places.
For sure.
Yeah.
And they're super uncomfortable. And I'll tell you, I know that I've had the experience. There's almost nothing more uncomfortable than being in like a long-term healing package with somebody that you really are like, this isn't what I want to be doing with my work. And it doesn't matter that can come from so many places. It can come from not really being able to relate to completely or understand that person. They can't relate to completely or understand you. They're wanting a different kind of work. They're wanting a different kind of a container than you like to have. Maybe you're somebody who just wants to do office hours and you're like, I only want to be available from this time to this time, or you just come see me for a session. I don't want to hear from you again till the next session, right? That might be your business model that you enjoy. Some people might want support where they're like, I want to be able to email somebody. I want to be able to text somebody or whatever. Like they might have some idea of the level of support that they're looking for that isn't what you want to do.
There are a lot of reasons why somebody might not be a great fit to work with you. And one of the biggest, most freeing pieces that I learned and have incorporated into my work is saying no to potential clients, specifically for that reason of having been in working agreements with people to varying degrees, whether it was a one-off session or whether it was a longer term agreement, and it wasn't the right fit. And it ends up taking usually more of your time and energy, usually a greater degree of just from whatever reason, a little bit of a mismatch or miscommunication, or maybe a big mismatch or big miscommunication, in which case it can be appropriate to close a working agreement / also is appropriate to close a working agreement early if it's very clearly not working. And I've done that. I've fired clients and
it's like sometimes we equate these things to us sort of being a failure or not having our shit together or not being like good enough in some kind of way, that we're not the perfect fit for everybody. And that's just silly. We're not the perfect fit for everybody. And I know that I've had those moments in those conversations when maybe I was like having sort of a less abundant month, and having a consultation call with somebody and knowing they have the money and knowing like I could sell them this thing, and knowing that and then having to say, you know what, I don't think that this is the right fit right now. I'm going to refer you to this person, or this is actually what I think you should be doing right now. Go and do these things, and then, reach back out to me in 6 months or something like this. Because maybe I'm not wanting to work with where that person is, and they might be better served working with someone else first.
Yeah. Or maybe not at all with us. Yeah. So again, there's a lot of reasons why it might not be a great fit, and none of them are good or bad. It's just, that's okay.
Yeah.
And again, it is okay to turn down clients. It is okay to say no to people, and it is okay to leave money on the table.
Yeah. And it's uncomfortable, and it's like, okay, that's what I'm doing. All right. Cause that's honestly, it's the ethical thing to do. It is, this person is going to spend their money, their time, their energy to receive something from someone. And if you're not that right person, then the integrous thing to do is to either send them to someone else that is going to be the right person, or to give them some other tools or tips that they're going to go and find that person themselves.
It's like leading somebody on because you like them taking you out to dinner, but you're not actually wanting to date them, right? Like it's like that, essentially. It's like that. Yeah, it's super shitty. So don't do that. And
so underneath that is you getting really, really, really fucking clear on how you want to work with people. What does it look like? What are the packages look like that you really love, that you really want to sell? Like, all of the layers of how you work with people, you need to figure out.
And honestly, the best way to do that is to work with people, right? And so we're offering a little bit of a catch-22 here of like, well, what if I take on a client and I end up not liking that working arrangement? Like, that's okay, because you'll learning.
Figure it out.
You'll figure it out. And again, it's okay to to either close an arrangement early, or it's okay to remodel an arrangement once you're in it, and kind of have a conversation with your client of like, how's this working for you? How do you like this? And here's some things that maybe we can explore.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes we get into these sort of like pigeonholed, we've decided that this is how things are, or this is, we've been taught by maybe our mentor. A lot of times I see us with practitioners of a specific modality that they've learned, and their mentor, their teacher did sessions this way and charges this month this much, and this is exactly how they did. So they're just like, okay, well, that's how you do this, so I'm going to do it that way, even though it doesn't really fit to their lifestyle or the kind of life that they want to live. I do a lot of work online, and the reason I'm here is because I do all this work online. If all my clients were in person, I'd be in trouble right now, because I'm like on this big giant trip. So you might not like working online. You might be like, I love to put my hands on people. I love to be like face to face in the same room with person. I want to have my office in this place where they come to me, and this is what it looks like. Awesome.
Yeah.
But it might not look like your mentor. It might not look like your business coach. It might not look like anybody else. Like, you get to make this up in a certain way.
Yeah. And again, the clearer you can be on how you like to serve, like what is your authentic service, then the easier it's going to be for you to identify who fits into that model and who doesn't. And so then that way, let's also talk about, so when you're having clients come in to work with you, or are you interviewing them? Are you taking applications? Is there a place where they can just sign up and buy something? So have your process for incoming people also suit the way that you would like to interact with them. So for example, there's if there's something that you have that's an online course, okay, then maybe you don't need to necessarily talk to people before they buy an online course, so that's just an easy buy. If there's someone can book a session, maybe they just need to fill out a little application. If someone's coming into a year-long training, like I have my I Am Alchemy training that just began, I not only require applications, but I take interviews for every single person who's coming into this course. Since it's a year-long, it's a small group, it's a very intimate container, there's a much higher level of pre-work that goes into vetting those people to see who's the right fit and who's not. And if someone's the wrong fit, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're that there's anything wrong. They might be a great fit for a different offering. And that's where part of our choice and discernment can come in, of if you have someone who's interested in working with you in a certain way, that may not be the right fit, but you can direct them to a different offering that would be more appropriate, or direct them to a different practitioner, or give, say like, hey, review these practices and then come back to me. And again, it's, if someone's not right, not quite aligned, there's a whole lot of options where you can go from there. It doesn't have to be a straight up no either.
Yeah, because I'll have conversations with people and be like, you know what, like, go do this class that I have online. It's cheap, it's easy. Go watch this podcast episode and do that practice for a while, and then get back in touch with me. And I'm saving both of us a lot of time and effort and energy, and everybody's getting their needs met in a certain way, right? I mean, I guess I could be making more money, but I don't know, whatever.
It's coming in other ways.
It comes around.
Right?
It's all good.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that's the thing, is to trust that your people are out there. You might think that you need to serve people that you don't necessarily like are super excited about, because you might think that maybe the people that you want to serve aren't there. But there are so many people in this world, and one thing that the internet has taught me is that there are clubs of people for every damn weird thing that you could ever imagine. And so know that no matter what kind of work you want to do, in whatever kind of way you want to do it, there are going to be people out there who will resonate with you if you are authentically presenting yourself into the world. And that means being vulnerable and open about what it is you do and how you do it and why you do it, and the people that you like to work with out in public, either teaching classes on social media or giving talks or, you know, writing your blog or your newsletter or whatever that is.
Or word of mouth, and just, and, you know, I know a handful of people with successful practices who exist entirely on referral basis, but, you know, they're very clear about what they do so that then their clients who love them can give very clear referrals for other people. And so there's a lot of alignment there.
Yeah, for sure.
So you don't even have to have a website to have a successful business. You just need to be very clear on what you do and very good at what you do. And then you get to be very discerning about the clients that you invite in. Actually, that's a great word, discernment. How to discern your clients. I like that in there. Meaning, like, okay, not only what is the best fit for me, but what is the best fit for them, whether it's, you know, me as a mentor or a shaman or somebody else or a different offering. And you know your practice better than anybody else. You know if someone's not the right fit. There are people who are going to be disappointed if you tell them that they're not the right fit, and that has to be okay. I mean, I've had applications from a handful of people who respond with varying degrees of disappointment, you know, from the like, oh, bummer, to the like very upset, like, and then I'm like, oh, good thing I didn't take that client on, right?
Right. And especially when you're running a group program.
Yeah.
And you might, especially like when you first start running a group program, you're like, okay, well, just everybody should come in.
Yeah.
But this is like a party. It's like a dinner party. And if you just invite every single person you know to your dinner party, you're going to get a mixed result. But you know that person who curates the dinner party with such panache. They're like, you're like, wow, it's so amazing the conversations that occurred at this particular creation between these very specific people that this person invited to their home. And it wasn't by accident, it was by choice that they were actually thinking, you know, this person is going to be a great fit for this container. And you don't want to necessarily have to have like the whole group is sort of focused on or trying to deal with issues for one person. Because I know I've had conversations with people, like other practitioners that I've been coaching, who are like, I've got a group program and this one person is like, I don't even know how to handle this experience because of the level of, you know, whatever's going on inside the container of the group. And this is like a little family that you're creating with these people. And so you have to be very discerning, like who are you bringing in? Are these people in alignment? Are they going to be in integrity? Are they going to be able to be kind? Are they going to be able to hold space for each other? Are, you know, are there, you know, whatever weird personality disorder going to just like uproot the entire experience for everybody?
Right. And then in that case, you know, asking the question of, well, would that person be better served working with me individually? And again, it might not be that they're a bad fit to work with you at all. It just might be for that specific offering.
Right.
So being really clear about, you know, not only the way that you like to work with people, but also what is the intention of that particular offering, program, or curriculum, and knowing, is there space within that offering and within that agreement to accommodate you know, someone who's processing a lot bigger energy, for example. And again, it doesn't have to be anything bad. It's just big energy takes up space in a container.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I've also had the experience of being like, and I'm like calling Michelle and be like, I'm kind of worried about this person who's showing up to this thing. And then that person shows up and it is perfection, right? It is exactly what they needed, exactly what the group needed, exactly what the group needed to experience. So I think there's also a level of like trust and surrender, and not totally needing to manage everything. That sometimes you're going to have the experience where the person is showing up in maybe not the most ideal way, or is there's some sort of you know, disruptive energy or something that's coming in that's kind of intense, or maybe you're not really sure how it's going to work itself out. But that it doesn't necessarily mean you like you're fired, but right away it might be perfection. And so you can then sit with yourself and how can you show up in a stronger way, in a more powerful way inside of this experience to support the container, to support each individual.
Absolutely. And in those cases, asking that question, well, what do I need to receive in order to rise to the occasion as a practitioner? Like, what invitation is there for me? And so I'd love to kind of just go over some tools, because we sort of like blurted out a lot of these things, but really specifically, what tools can you use to help you have a lot of discernment and empowered choice when inviting clients to work with you? So, number one, I think, is avoiding the 3 traps: that I can help them, I need money, and my business model is something that isn't authentic. So avoiding those 3 traps. And then beyond that, having a lot of discernment about how you like to do your work. So being really grounded in, what does your service look like? What is required in order for you to be happy and fulfilled and have all your bills paid, and just all of the aspects of your service. The clearer you can be about that, the easier it will be to determine whether people are aligned or not.
Right. Getting precise. Mm-hmm. And a lot of us don't like to be precise because we want to help everybody, and we fear that being precise will shut some people out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yet knowing that if you're not the right fit, then there's somebody who is for them. So they're going to be okay. They're going to get the support they need. And then some specific tools in order to do that, or in order to foster this conversation. Again, looking at, do you just want a buy now button, right? Or a purchase button? Is there something that is really easy for people to just come into your business without having any interaction with you, in which case you don't need an application or an interview, right? Otherwise, what systems do you have in place in order to invite people to have a conversation with you? Do you do an application? Do you do set up a discovery session? Do you do hey, come in for a free session and we'll talk? Do you have a consultation project? So looking at these other systems in order to give you an opportunity to have that experience and then make the choice in the moment. Sometimes I know, actually, I was going to say usually, but it's more of a sometimes. Sometimes I can tell just by the, whether somebody submits a few sentences or something, I can tell if they're the right fit or not. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I'm surprised. And I really love being surprised. I've gotten a couple of applications from people that, reading it, I wouldn't think that they're the best fit. But then when we get on the phone and we have a conversation and they're sharing more about themselves, some people just don't do well in writing about themselves, but then when they're speaking, it's very clear of okay, that's super aligned. Awesome. I wasn't expecting that. Or sometimes the writing might seem okay, that feels pretty good. And then you get on the phone, it's a nope. Yeah, situation.
I also think that the consultation, the application, the whole process, this going through a process, it is a little bit like vetting people, in that you get to see, do they show up? Mm-hmm. Are they consistent? Do they get to the session on time? Do they have a lot of excuses? Do they cancel at the last minute and then want to rebook and then not show up? And it's really clear to me, if someone can't show up for a consultation, I'm probably not going to hire them as a client. That's how I'm looking at it. I'm hiring them as a client. Mm-hmm. So I'm probably not going to say yes to, come and work with me. I'm going to do this really deep work with you. Mm-hmm. If I can't trust them to show up, to be consistent, to do their practices at home, and to not be full of a bunch of excuses.
Absolutely. In our last episode, we did a very related theme. We talked about how to select a shaman, how to choose a shaman. And I would say, in case you missed it, go ahead and circle back. But also in regards to this, from the practitioner teacher perspective, there's also a great degree of intimacy into what we're creating. Mm-hmm. So whenever, and I keep this in mind and ask myself this question, and I offer this to my students, my practitioner students, who I'm mentoring, of whenever you bring in a client, you're inviting them into your energy field.
Absolutely.
Do you want that person in your energy field?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And sometimes in some traditions, it's considered that you're kind of attaching your karma to this person's karma in a way. Mm-hmm. You are in some ways, you're there's these threads, and of course we're going to cut cords, and we're going to do clearings, and we're going to, you know, do all of our energy practices and devotional practices in order to be as clear and sovereign in our experience as possible. But still, there is this very deep connection. You are going to be going through some sort of process with this person and assisting them through. And I mean, one of the things for me, I'm like, okay, we're going to do deep work. Like, are you going to show up? Are you going to just show up? Like, I need to know you're going to show up. And there are a lot of people out there who say they want change. They say they want to heal. They say they want these things, but they're not willing to actually show up. And I know for me, for Michelle, and I'm sure for you too, as practitioners, we show up. We show up with 100+% of who we are every time we interact with someone. And it can be so painful and disappointing when we see someone's potential, when we see the possibility that they have, and they just are so sabotaging their experience that they can't even, like, you know, show up for a consultation.
Yeah, we care a lot, right? And we want to have people show up who also care.
Yeah, because it's just think of like how you run your life, right? It's like these people are the same as you would, you know, have your friend group. Like if your friend is like, meet me and, you know, we're gonna have tea on Friday at noon, and then you go to have tea with your friend at Friday at noon and they just don't show up.
Yeah,
you're like, what the hell's wrong with you? Like, what kind of friend are you? What's going on here?
Right.
We're looking at this experience of this mutual caring and respect and honor of the container that you're creating, because this container is there for healing and evolution and vulnerability and growth at some of the deepest levels that people will ever experience in their life.
There's a high degree of trust and safety involved, and in our last episode we talked about you as a recipient feeling safe with the shaman that you're hiring, and here from this perspective it's equally important that you as the practitioner, shaman, teacher feel safe and trusting of the client that you're inviting in.
And sometimes this is all about just teaching you about boundaries and how you're not very good at saying no, or you're not good at holding the container that you want to hold. You're letting other people kind of dictate things in your life overall, or get away with things that maybe aren't respectful of you or your time and your energy. And so sometimes your guides are like, hey, how about I put this person in your life to be your client so that I can teach you about how you're not good at boundaries everywhere in your life. So, so other than just like being mad that like, oh, people keep showing up this way, if people keep showing up this way,
look at what is causing that and what's inviting that. Okay, that's a lot of tools. Great. Well, you have a lot of homework, so look at your practice and again kind of look at, are you falling into any of those 3 traps? Are you really clear on what your ideal practice looks like? And start putting mechanisms in place if you don't have them already, but give yourself opportunities to have discussions with people, or to somehow put people through a process that puts you in a place of empowered choice on whether or not you'd like to invite them into your work, or into what offering you'd like to invite them. So you have a lot of power in this, you have a lot of sovereignty, and you can always say no. It is okay to turn down clients. I promise you will make up that income somewhere. And by saying no, you give yourself, you're showing yourself and you're energetically programming yourself that I respect myself and I respect my practice so much that I am not willing to let somebody into my field who is not aligned. And so then it's an opportunity to spirit for like, okay, well, how about this person? Is this more aligned? And then you can be like, still not quite right. Okay, how about this person? Yes. Awesome. And then you get to work with the clients of your dreams who show up, who you're so excited about, who do the work, who are, for whatever reason, are, it's this really beautiful, magical synthesis of energies. And that's the kind of clients we all want. I promise they're out there. You keep doing your part and they will show up.
Thanks for joining us for this episode. You can tune in to all of our previous episodes on iTunes and YouTube and Stitcher. Be sure to subscribe and comment and share. And you can find us also on Facebook at Shaman Sister Sessions. And feel free to reach out to us at shamansistersessions@gmail.com if you would like to have a suggestion on something that we might want to talk about, or anything else that you want to share.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. So go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you online.